Hi there. Welcome to this week's Facebook Live. I'm Cheryl Richardson, and looking forward to being here with you tonight. I'll wait a couple of minutes for people to join, and then we'll have a little chat, and I'll be here to answer some questions, do some live coaching about whatever topics might be on your mind. And yeah, I don't know what it's like in your part of the woods. Be sure to say hello and let me know where you are. That would be great. Thank you. I see the hearts. And hi, Kathy. Welcome to you. And hi, Terry. I'm glad you're here. Um, and Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. And Teresa. Welcome to you too. I love it. The three top fans show up. Four top fans, really. Show up right at the beginning. I appreciate that. Hi, Raven from Vancouver. Welcome to you. And Lacey from Toronto and Kim from Tacoma, Washington. Welcome. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. It's a snowy New England today. We got some snow this afternoon. It was really quite beautiful. It was freezing cold out. I think it was maybe only 20 degrees. But the snow came in and it just sort of covered everything in white and then stopped. So fingers crossed that that's all we're getting. I like snow, but I like just a little snow that makes the world beautiful. I don't like having to go out and trudge through it and shovel and do all that sort of stuff. The first thing I always shovel when it snows here is the back deck, the whole area where my bird feeder is and where the water that I put out is. So I always go out and shovel that first, shovel it all off so that I can replace the water and leave some bird seed around for the little critters that come to visit. Hi there. I'm looking. Hi, Monica. Welcome to you. And hi, James. Look at this, 2 weeks in a row. You're right, James. It is a miracle. And it's snowing like crazy in Michigan. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I know. I hear that there's a big cold snap happening in the Midwest, and I love you guys, but don't send it my way. Keep it where you are. Okay. I'd appreciate that. Hi, Pia. Glad to see you. I'm happy you're here. And Christina from Ontario, welcome to you. And Joanne, hi there. Happy and Sheila, welcome, my dear. Glad you're here. And Joel, some of the regulars are here. Monica's here. Welcome. And Elena from New Zealand, welcome. Good morning to you, I should say, right? And Brenda, who is in sunny and warm Utah. 47 is warm to me. That's springtime at this point. And Nancy in Maryland and Adrian from Rhode Island, welcome to you. And Miriam and Beryl from the Netherlands and Carol from British Columbia. Sue from Michigan and Debbie from Pembroke Pines, Florida. I'm heading to Florida next week for a few days. I'm really happy about that. It'd be nice to get into some warm weather. Anyway, so if you'd like some coaching tonight, the best thing to do is to put your question or your situation, be brief, but be brief and specific if you can, because that will just help me to help you. And you can put it in the comments section, and just when you put it in, make sure that you copy it as well, because sometimes you'll have to repost it because Facebook just scrolls through the comments and doesn't let me go back to them usually. Sometimes it does, but very rarely. So hi, Erica from the UK, welcome. And Amy, I'm glad you're here. And Jeanette and Lee, welcome to you. And Kathy. Oh no, Kathy, snow's coming tonight, she says, in Massachusetts. That worries me. Nathabo from Toronto says I met you in 2011 at the Oprah Winfrey Life class. Today's Oprah's birthday, by the way. Happy birthday to Oprah. It's January 29th, right? Yep, it's her birthday today. So let's all send her good vibes, shall we? So let's see. What should we talk about to start? I was working on well, first of all, let me say this. Today is a special day because the paperback version of Waking Up in Winter is released today. So you can get it on Amazon and in bookstores and wherever you normally get your books. The paperback is now out there, as is the audio version, which I know some of you have listened to. A lot of people write to me and say that they like listening to the audio version because it's my voice and they feel like they're sort of taking the journey with me. And I understand that. I like doing audiobooks for that reason as well, especially if I feel like I know the author. It makes it more personal. But the paperback is available today. And I've just been really, I have to say that as a writer and as a teacher, I've been really grateful for the kind of deeper conversations I've been able to have with people about midlife and not even just midlife, but living an examined life, actually. I think it was Plato or Socrates who said that. What does it mean to pay attention to the life that you're living, to stop now and then and really reflect on the choices that you're making, where you are at this point in your life, what matters most to you, what the disappointments are, what you might regret not doing if you haven't done it yet. Some people talk about making a bucket list, and that's not something I've done. I don't know, I might do it at some point, but I'm actually just more interested in who am I becoming as a woman. And I guess one of the things I wanted to talk about, I've mentioned it here before on Facebook Live, and it bears repeating, and that is that when we reach a transitional point in life, which midlife often is, and for some people midlife is 40 years old, for others it's 50, for some it's 60 or 70. I hear from all people of all different ages who feel like, I remember one time a woman wrote to me who was 75 and said, I feel like I'm at midlife. One of the things that happens as we reach midlife, if we're awake enough, in other words, if we're not so bogged down with daily responsibilities and so entrenched in the roles that we've played all our lives, whether it's the caretaker or the achiever or the perfectionist or the hermit, if we've been fairly self-reflective and we've been open, then one of the things that can happen at midlife is we start to notice that there is a calling for other parts of us to be experienced and expressed. So, for example, if you've been the good girl all your life, right, always doing the right thing and taking care of people and crossing the T's and dotting the I's and making sure that you are towing the line in whatever way, you might find that whether it be in your dreams, in your journaling, in your conversations, you might find that there is a bad girl inside that wants to be expressed. An imperfectionist, how's that for a new role? You might find that you want to be taken care of instead of being the one that is caring for others. You might find that you want to be braver, be more of a risk taker because you've kind of played it safe for a good part of your life. And those parts of us start to clamor for attention. And if we don't pay them attention, if we don't create the space for them to exist in our lives, then sometimes they can wreak a little havoc. They can get us into trouble. All of a sudden you find yourself blurting out something inappropriate during a conversation because you're just frustrated and you're so tired of feeling hemmed in, or you're just, you're fed up with never speaking your mind. So suddenly you just blurt out what it is you're thinking in an inappropriate way, and it comes back to haunt you. Or the infamous, midlife affair or red Corvette, the husband that goes out to buy the red Corvette or the man that goes out to buy the sports car. That's a sort of traditional joke around midlife. When really, in a lot of ways, what's happening is, we are whole people. As Debbie Ford used to always say, we are everything, good and bad, light and dark, saintly and sinner. And the goal in our growth and development is to become whole. And in becoming whole, we need to be able to express the fullness of who we are. And so one of the things you can do is you can take some time to really think about the roles that you've played in your life up until this point. Mother, father, husband, wife, partner, daughter, son, caregiver, like I said, achiever. What are the roles that you've played? What are the roles you've played professionally? What are the roles that you've played personally? And how are those roles now limiting you in some way? So, for example, I know that in my own life, I've been a caregiver for a long time, and I've played a mother role for a long time. And as I get older, I find that I would like to play the father role sometimes, or I would like to have people take care of me. I would like to be able to receive more. And I'm learning to do that. I'm learning to allow people to take care of me instead of always being the caregiver. Maybe you're somebody who's always been in charge, in control of everything, making sure that the household runs smoothly, or the office runs smoothly, or the business runs smoothly. And you feel this sort of, either you feel this call to give up control, or you're being forced to give up control because of the things that are happening in your life. And maybe a more surrendered you wants to be experienced and expressed. Maybe you've been the hero all your life, and now you want somebody to step in and be the hero for you. Or you want to be able to be more vulnerable and to let other people be a champion for you. You might be the giver, and you might need to practice being the receiver, not the taker, because it has such negative connotations, although some people need to learn to be a taker. But to be more of a receiver in this next stage of your life. So you can start out by really making a list of all of the roles that you've played, and if you're not sure, we're all sure of some of the roles, but you might even ask people close to you, whether it's family members or friends, to tell you what roles they've seen you play in your life. And just make a list of them, because in making a list of those roles, then you can take some time to kind of sit with that list and ask yourself, what's the opposite of a caregiver? What's the opposite of an achiever? What's the opposite of somebody who's always in control? And who do you know in your life that plays the opposite role? Now, here's a clue. Very often, when we are very rigidly in a particular role in our life, we draw people to us, be it in intimate relationships, romantic relationships, or friendships, even collegial relationships. We draw people to us that often reflect opposite roles or contrasting roles. And sometimes those people can actually be wonderful teachers. You know the old saying, opposites attract in romantic relationships? Well, they often do. And part of that is because as human beings and as spiritual beings, we're moving toward wholeness, and we're often consciously and unconsciously attracted to people who reflect parts of us that we haven't met yet, parts of us that haven't been expressed yet, parts of us that need to be developed more, need to be expressed more. So, for example, if you're somebody who's a procrastinator, you might find yourself married to someone who's a get-it-done person, right? And they're always they're like overachieving, and you wish that they would just relax and slow down, when in fact, you need to adopt some of that achieving energy, which will then in the relationship force them to kind of relax that energy back a bit. So that's part of the beauty of relationships, is that we enter into them, if we enter into them with our eyes open, recognizing that the people that we're in relationship with are mirroring ways of being that we may very well need to develop. You begin to get the spiritual nature of all relationships as teachers. And especially, I think, our most powerful teaching relationships are those we have with our intimate partners, whether you're living with someone or dating somebody consistently, or dating the same type of person consistently. I remember one time a very dear friend of mine kept dating artists. I told this story somewhere, I forget, I may have put it in one of my books. She kept dating artists, and the relationships were always kind of flighty and not very, they weren't really solid relationships, but she was so attracted to these men who were the artist types. And then finally one day I remember I said to her, why don't you start expressing your own artistic side and see what happens? Why don't you stop dating the people you need to be more of? And why don't you instead just start allowing the artist in you to express herself? And it's exactly what she did. And she actually stopped dating artists and she began to do more of her own drawing and her own expression of art. So sometimes we can recognize the people that we need to become more like, or the qualities of character that we need to develop more by the consistency, that the consistent kinds of roles that we're dating, the roles that people take on. Sometimes it's work roles and sometimes it's just personal characteristics. So midlife is a great time to do that. And in Waking Up in Winter, in a lot of ways, that whole journal, because it's a journal instead of a self-help book, that whole journal is a movement toward me moving away from the roles that I've played in the first half of my life and opening the door for new roles, new parts of me to be expressed. And I'm happy to say that that's happening. And I really, I'm grateful for that. When we allow ourselves to express these new parts of us, we release energy. We actually have more energy. And we actually, like, literally physically feel more energy. We have more psychic energy. It's a great way to combat depression, is by looking at what parts are being suppressed that want to be expressed. So that's something to think about at this point in your life, where, if you feel like you're at a midlife point, ask yourself, what other parts of me haven't been expressed yet that want more space and time and energy in my life? It's a good question to ask. Okay, so let's look at your questions, shall we? And the coaching that you need. So you can go ahead and post a question or a situation in the comments section. Remember to copy it so that if you need me to, if Facebook scrolls beyond it, I'll be able to see it again. So you might need to post it a couple of times, but I'm going to go through here and see if I can. So Kathy says, how do you deal with what feels like PTSD from having a chronic health condition and seeing so many doctors, most of whom cannot help? When I get even small physical things that happen now, it makes me feel like I'm in fight, flight, or freeze mode. I do yoga, meditate, practice gratitude, etc., but feel an immediate sense of anxiety take over. Yeah, so what's happening, Kathy, is there's just a trained pattern of thinking, right? It's a neural program. Let me just make a note of your name, Kathy, so that I remember it when Facebook makes you disappear. So you've just linked up physical sensation with anxiety, and that record starts playing when something happens. Tapping therapies is one of the best strategies I've found for breaking that cycle. So I would recommend that you go to, if you have a smartphone, download the, hold on one second, it's awfully warm in here. Bear with me, people. Download the Tapping Solution app. It's a fantastic resource, I'm telling you. You'll have it on your phone. You can use it anytime you feel anxious. And the next time you find yourself immediately going into fight or flight as a result of some kind of a physical ailment, a reaction or response in the body, learn a tapping sequence that you can use. You can go right to the app and use one for anxiety. That would be a good idea. Also, I want to say to you, Kathy, that any illness, and especially chronic illnesses, I think, are an invitation to own our power in an even greater way. I love this about Kris Carr. Kris Carr's work, to me, one of the most profound things about her work is it gives patience, it gives people with cancer back their power, because it makes them recognize that I actually have more control over what happens in my body, or how let me say it this way. I have more influence over the relationship that I have with my body and its level of health, the society that we've been raised in, and the medical system we've been raised in would lead us to believe. Because we're growing up as a society, we're becoming more educated when it comes to health and medical conditions. I will tell you this, Kathy, food is medicine. If you don't follow Charlie Goldsmith, he was on the TLC show, The Healer. He recently posted a video. Terry, if you could just make a note on Charlie Goldsmith's Facebook page. Terry's my webmaster and she's on here. It's a 7-minute video that he posted about his dad who has Parkinson's, and what happened when he took his dad home for 1 week and fed him. The change in his father's physical health was amazing to me, and such a beautiful indication of what happens when we start recognizing that food is medicine. And when we begin to feed ourselves well, the body responds, and it responds really quickly, regardless of the illness you have. Now, the truth of that is, Kathy, most people have a hard time changing their diet. Most people have, because food is a loaded conversation. But this is true for all of us, by the way, all of us, all of you listening to me. Any kind of physical ailment that you have could absolutely be improved if you started to give yourself more green vegetables, a lot less animal protein, more fruits and vegetables. If you ate less, for a lot of people, if you drank more water, like just nourishing the body in the right way is an example, Kathy, I guess, of what I'm saying about owning the power that we have to create health in our bodies. The medical system in this country is really stressful, and doctors are stressed. I mean, I've coached doctors, I've taught doctors. They're stressed out of their minds. And so they're not educated about the power of nutrition in the way that the medical community really ought to be. And it requires taking responsibility on our part for getting educated about our health, but also behaving differently with how we eat and how we move our bodies. And so the tapping solution, I think the application, the app on the phone would be awesome for you. I think you'd really love it. And then also just, I'll post a link to Charlie's video that he did with his dad. And I hope that inspires you to also look at how you might be able to change your body. His father has Parkinson's. His father pretty much thought he was dying. He was starting to say goodbye to people. And Charlie had been on him, I think, for changing his diet for a while, but everybody was like, same thing like when my father was sick. Everybody said, oh, he's in his 80s, he's lived a full life. Don't rob him of the pleasures. Well, that's a choice that somebody can make. And who am I to judge? I mean, if you'd rather get pleasure from eating, I think I say go for it. But if you don't want to be in pain and you want to stick around for a while and you want to improve your health, what you put into your mouth, the food you put in your mouth, is the single most powerful influence you have over the state of your physical health and the state of your body. So, okay, you can tell I have a lot of energy about this, right, Kathy? I've been experiencing it in my own life. I mean, I wrote about it in Waking Up in Winter, the pain I had in my hands from the arthritis that I had. And it's completely gone because I changed my diet, completely gone. And I knew it. I knew it years ago that was a change I needed to make, and I wasn't ready. And this year I have been ready, and it's made a big, big difference. So I hope that's helpful, Kathy. I really do. And I'll look to see if you've written anything else here. All right, let's see here. Again, please remember to repost your question because I can't see all of them. Okay, so now I'm looking. Let's see. So questions. Oh, okay, Andrea, I'm so glad the doctor declared my pressure wound is healed today. I have a couple more weeks of bed rest before I restart my sitting protocol, but I'm on my way. Thank you for your prayers. You're so welcome, sweetheart. And congratulations. I'm really, really glad for you. I'm really glad for you. That's terrific news. Um, um, So Lori says, I've been out of the workforce for 10 years, first because I was sick, then because I became a caregiver. I don't know if I need to go to school or what to do to get back into the working world. I'm lost. Well, so Lori, first thing I would say is before you even think about school, you need to think about other things like who are you at this time in your life? What do you really love doing? What are you skilled at? If you don't know, ask some of your friends to tell you what they think you're really good at. And because uh, school doesn't teach us what it is we need to do for work. We need to uncover what it is we want to do for work, and then decide whether or not schooling would benefit us in some way. So, Lori, I would say, assuming that you need to work in order to make some money, I would start by looking at what are you really good at doing? Are you great at organizing, bookkeeping? Are you a great decorator? Are you a cook? You know, do you understand computers? Like, what is it that you love to do that you're really good at? And you could even start by offering those services to friends and family or volunteering. I had a client I was talking to earlier today, somebody that I've been working with for a while, who started volunteering for an organization. And as a result she was then offered a job for the organization. And she loves what she's doing. She's doing it part-time, volunteering gave her confidence. It reconnected her to her talents and gifts. It created the energy of momentum, which I think is really important. It put her out there in the world. It allowed her to meet other people. And as a result, she now has a job. So, it all starts by really identifying what is it that you're really good at, that you love to do, and getting out and doing it, Lori. Just get started. The universe loves action and momentum. So when we start to put our energy out into the world, for example, if I decided right now that I needed to work, I love organizing. I love cleaning things out and organizing. And I could go to friends and family, past colleagues, whomever, and say, I am available to organize. So if you know anybody who wants closets cleaned out or kitchen cabinets or wants to tidy up, as we're all talking about these days, or eliminate clutter, as we've talked about here as a result of my sister Carrie's book, I would be your girl. And I would say, sure, I'll go. You can pay me an hourly rate and I'll go ahead and eliminate clutter. So that's the spirit you want to look at, Lori, is what is it that you want to do? What kind of energy do you want to contribute to the world? And the world will then start to tell you how you're going to get paid for it. So, all right. I hope that's helpful, dear. Let's see. I hate that when I start to read a question and then it just goes by. So Joanne says, a friend of mine recently gave up his job as he just wasn't happy doing it anymore, but finances are now tight and the optimism is disappearing. He just doesn't know what to do or what direction to go in. Joanne, in a situation like that, when somebody needs to make money in order to live, then you don't even worry about figuring out, what your purpose is or what your ideal job is. You just take whatever skills you have and you go out and you get a job so that you have money coming in. I joked, I think it was last week, that the other thing I would do if I needed to make money right away is I would absolutely go wait tables at a restaurant, without a doubt. I loved waiting tables when I was younger. I felt like an entrepreneur. I felt like I really could control my income by how well I took care of people, the kinds of tips I would get. And so, of course, optimism is disappearing. Right now, it's, okay, who around this person is hiring, whether it's working at a local health food store in retail or painting houses, like whatever it is. What are your skills that will allow you to bring a consistent source of income in now so that you then have the kind of, emotional and physical space and psychic space to be able to think about what the next position is. So any work that you do, you can think of it as a transition position while you're, that you're engaged in to bring a consistent source of income in while you're then exploring what's next for you career-wise. Okay. So, you support the person in doing that, Joanne. Yeah, James says that it's amazing, the food thing. I started an anti-inflammatory lifestyle a month ago, and it's amazing the changes in my body. It really is. I mean, so many of us are walking around with so much inflammation in the body. Gluten-free makes a big difference, absolutely. Eliminating dairy makes a huge difference. Okay, let's see. You all are doing a good job of reposting your questions. Which app, please? Anne-Marie, it's the tapping solution. Any of the resources that I mentioned during Facebook Live will get posted here afterwards. I'll go in and edit it once the live feed comes up. So you'll be able to find the app there, Anne-Marie. But if you go to thetapping.com, you can read about the tapping therapies there, or on your phone, go to the App Store and download the tapping solution there. You'll see the app right there, and it's worth every penny. It's really a terrific resource. Okay, let's see. Kathy. Okay, Kathy says, I've been out on workman's comp because I fell at school. I've been out a year and a half. I swear the universe knocked me on my butt to get me out of the toxic environment. I have to make a decision to go back. Okay, that makes no sense to me, which I don't know if I can handle physically or continue with the courts. I've started a business online and it's going well, but nowhere near what I made as a teacher. It's been tough money-wise, but I'm much happier with working on my business. I'm not sure which way to go. Then she says, oh my God, I think you're talking to me. I've always been the good girl. What do I do? I'm normally not a risk taker, but I love this business. Well, Kathy, it really just depends on financially where you're at. Are you able to pay your bills? If you are, then it might be that you decide to go ahead and continue with the business. And I mean, you said that the universe knocked you on your butt to get out of a toxic environment. So I don't know why you'd want to go back there, which means I would be more concerned with what are some of the other things, just like I've been saying through this whole Facebook Live, what are some of the other skills that you can engage in, that you can use to make you money to support you while this business gets up and running? Because toxic environments, I mean, you've been out on workman's comp already. Don't do that to yourself again. And even if it means you need to downsize, then downsize. But take care of yourself. You deserve to take care of yourself, sweetheart. So Allison says, hi, Cheryl. I've worked a corporate job all my life. I'm looking to be more entrepreneurial, but scared to jump in the deep end. Thank you so much. Went to your retreat in Boston many moons ago. Allison, don't jump in the deep end, sweetheart. Of course you're scared. That's what keeps most people stuck, is thinking that they have to go from A to Z, right? I call that A to Z thinking. Instead, Allison, you want to look at what can you do on the side. I'm assuming if you're looking into more entrepreneurial, I'm assuming that there's some stuff that you like to do that could be more entrepreneurial. And is there a way that you could begin to do it on the side while you continue to work so that you're able to pay your bills? Or you can also think about downsizing or saving up money, like setting yourself up to be more entrepreneurial. But I would do things like do some informational interviewing with entrepreneurs. Take some, read about entrepreneurs online. Take a class, take an adult ed class on bookkeeping or accounting. Very important if you want to be an entrepreneur. Talk to friends of yours who have their own businesses. Entrepreneurship isn't, sometimes it feels like it's this big looming thing, but the truth is, if I decided to start an organizing business tomorrow, and I said my rates are $30 an hour, and you hire me to come clean, organize your kitchen, I'm now an entrepreneur. And you're going to pay me, and I'm going to set up, a separate business account, and I'm going to deposit the money into that business account, and I'm going to go out and tell more people about what I do. And like, that's being an entrepreneur. And a lot of people start businesses like that on the side. So as long as you think of it as, I'm going to quit my corporate job and become an entrepreneur, jump into the deep end, you'll probably never do it because it doesn't make sense to do it that way. You want to do it one small step at a time. All right? Thanks, Allison. Okay, let's see. Um, Debbie wants to know, what is your diet that helped with your arthritis? Years ago, probably 20 years ago now, I saw a functional medicine doctor. This is a doctor who treats the whole body and all the systems. And he said to me, Cheryl, a good diet is really simple: protein and produce. If you focus your energy on protein and produce, if you focus a majority of your meals on protein and produce, that would make all the difference in the world. Lots of green vegetables, lean proteins. I prefer a more plant-based diet. Um, Beans, lentils, um, learn about the levels of protein in vegetables, lots of great peas. I love peas, high in protein, smoothies. Green, anti-inflammatory is getting rid of sugar, getting rid of white flour, getting rid of dairy and wheat. All of those things are just very high processed foods, and they really add inflammation in the body. Alcohol also, wine. When I stopped drinking wine, not that I didn't even drink that much wine, and it made a huge difference just in terms of lowering the sugar levels in my body and lowering the inflammation. So those are some of the things that really helped me, Debbie. And the funny thing, Debbie, now is I know I don't do anything, excuse me. I don't restrict myself because I know better. I'm old enough now to know that if I say I will never eat sugar again, I guarantee you I'm going to want to leave here and go eat some sugar right now. So I don't restrict myself, but I will tell you that the cleaner you eat and the more green you eat, the less sugar you want. And it only takes 3 days for cravings to go away. For most people, 3 days is all it takes. And so now I know that if I go out, let's say I went out and I had a glass of wine, I can feel it in my fingers. And so it's just a beautiful reminder of, oh yeah, that's why I don't do that anymore. Let me do something different instead. So the body becomes this wonderful barometer for how well we're feeding ourselves based on how it feels. It's really awesome in that way. I think it's terrific. So that's some of what I do in terms of diet that really makes a huge difference. Okay. Oh, that's great, Kathy. Kathy says she's going to check out the tapping solution. She has changed her diet and she's working with the functional medicine doc. Fantastic. Yes, yes, fantastic. I always say naturopaths and functional medicine doctors, to me, are the first line of health, without a doubt. Okay, let's see. Maybe one more question and then we'll wrap it up. Let's see. Yes, so someone says, what foods do you eat? Kale, arugula, watermelon, blueberries, steel-cut oatmeal with bananas, and sometimes I throw in some pistachio nuts or walnuts. Almond, I only drink almond milk. I make my own almond milk. It's so easy. Hemp milk, I'm making that now. Any kind of vegetable. I tend to stay away from the nightshade vegetables. Peas, love peas, sugar snap peas, munch on them as if they were a snack. Beans, lentils, I had some lentil soup earlier that was delicious. One of my favorite things during the day as a quick snack is to bake sweet potatoes, and take baked sweet potatoes. This is a great little tip for all of you. Bake sweet potato, cut it in half, open it all up, it's nice and soft. I cook some peas, organic frozen peas, just take them out, cook them real quick, put them in the middle of the potato, the sweet potato, and I take flax oil and just drizzle flax oil over it. Sometimes I'll put other vegetables with it, kale, spinach. I'll take kale and spinach, put it in a food processor, chop it all up, so it's nice and small. You can sprinkle that on a sweet potato. It's delicious and really, really good for you. That's one of my favorite little lunch things to do, as well as kale and arugula in the food processor. And then I take flax oil, a little bit of lemon juice, some local honey. I always like to have local honey. Mix it all together with some salt and pepper, pour it over the food processed kale and arugula, and it's delicious salad. and really quick, really quick. Megan says, what do you think about energy healing like Reiki? I love any kind of energy work, Megan. I think is beautiful. Years ago in 1997, I had major abdominal surgery, and I had Reiki before I went into surgery and Reiki when I came out of surgery. I'm also a big fan of polarity. The tapping therapies are working with energy. So I think working with people, a really good Reiki practitioner, I think it's a beautiful way to calm the body. Craniosacral work is also great. I mean, I'm a huge fan of including the body in healing, right? A lot of times we just focus on talk therapy or, talking our way out of things. The body needs to be included because the body stores and holds so many memories and so much information. And so I'm a big believer in foot massages. As a matter of fact, I think Michael and I are going to go get one tonight once we finish here. So anything that you can do to work with the body's energy system, I think, is a great line of defense for illness as well. Because remember, the body is the last place for stress to show up. So it starts out first in the energy field, then it moves into the emotional field, or maybe who knows, it could even be backwards, that emotionally something's upsetting us that's not tended to, and then it starts to move into the energy field. And if it's not addressed, it lands in the body a lot of times. That's not counting the fact that there are environmental factors and historical factors and all of that. But if we can deal with the energy field around the body first, it's a great way to prevent some illness for sure. Okay, so that's my take on Reiki. All right, let's see. You know what? I think we're gonna finish up. Well, Valerie, hi. I will have a surgery next week. I did a lot of Louise Hay affirmations, but I realized yesterday that I'm still really afraid. I want everything to go well. What else do you think I can do to calm and face my fear? I have a great, great suggestion for you, Valerie. There is a wonderful book called Prepare for Surgery, Heal Faster. It's by Peggy Huddleston. If you go to healfaster.com, Terry, that's the website we can include, healfaster.com, it's actually a book I used in 97. And there's a protocol that Peggy writes about in that book, including, she also makes available, you can get it on the website, I'm sure, a relaxation, a guided visualization, a guided tape, a guided visualization that you can use both before surgery and during surgery. She writes about this process that's been scientifically proven to cut recovery times. My recovery time was almost cut in half. So I really encourage you to check out that resource, Valeria, sorry. And I am going to put you in my prayer book, Valeria. Valeria Luna, what a name that is. What a gorgeous name. Valeria Luna. I'm going to put you in my prayer book, sweetheart, with a big heart, and just visualize that your surgery is going to just be great. It's going to actually be healing for you. And you want to use affirmations like, every hand that touches me is a healing hand. I'm surrounded by loving and caring people. My body heals quickly and easily. Make note of the time, Valeria, right now. Notice what time it is. You can fast forward to this and I'll repeat these. Every hand that touches my body is a healing hand. I'm surrounded by loving and caring people. My body heals quickly and easily. I get great benefit from this surgery. My life takes a remarkable positive turn as the result of this surgery. I'm grateful for the way my body heals itself through the surgery and beyond. You just want to keep using these affirmations, Valeria, as you prepare for the surgery. And I promise you, if you read Peggy's book and you do the guided visualization and you use it at the hospital, it will make all the difference in the world. And you'll start to feel calmer way before you even get to the surgery. And the tapping can help as well. So I hope if you haven't downloaded the tapping app, I really encourage you to do that. Okay? All right, sweetheart. You're going to be just fine. I have no doubt. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hi, Larry. I see your little face. I'm glad you're here. It's one of my favorite people in the whole world, Larry Legend. Anyway, thank you all for being here with me. I appreciate it so much, and I hope that something you heard tonight is going to support you in a really great way this week. I won't be here next week because I'm going to be traveling, but I'll be here the week afterwards. So, and every now and then I'll scroll back through these comments and see if I can't answer a few people. Um, but if not, be sure to come back and visit me, okay? And we'll do this all again. All right. Remember, Waking Up in Winter is out in paperback today. So if you haven't read it, now's the time to pick up a copy. Thanks so much. Take good care. Bye.